Superintendent Pace. Please proceed with your recommendation at this time.
Absolutely, sir. Here with me tonight, we have Rhonda Blake, our Director of Planning, as well as Mr. Phelps, our Deputy Superintendent for Human Services, and Mr. Clint, our Chief Facilities Officers, along with our Middle School Assistant Superintendent, Middle School Principal, some members of the committee who've been here and been working through this process with our community to talk about redistricting. We also have, as you know, sir, Ms. Zyra Diaz, who's here to provide translation services should anyone want that service. But we'll turn it over to staff.
Thank you.
Good evening.
Good evening.
So we have the PowerPoint, but the main topic will be the handout with the maps and the numbers that we just handed out. So basically tonight we're going to have the public hearing. We're going to present the plan. We're going to open for public comment, and then we'll open for school board comments, and then we'll ask for a vote, and then this presentation will be completed for this evening. As you know, on August 1, we brought 3 calendars to you. We've done 3 different redistrictings. So we're bringing to you the first one tonight, which is for the middle schools. And the purpose of this redistricting was Neptune Middle School had reached 107% utilization with its 6 portables in place. And
oh, yes. I thought it was 80%.
We were at 80%.
from the previous meeting. Yeah. So Denjon Middle School is kind of surrounded by what we call an older mature community where more adults have stayed behind as the children have moved on, and as a result they had space available, so we decided that it would be an opportunity to better balance the population between the 2 schools. So the plan that we present this evening will be to move students from, redistrict students from Neptune Middle to Denjon Middle. We had scheduled 3 meetings to meet with this committee. The first one was canceled due to Hurricane Irma. It was scheduled 2 days after Irma came through. So we actually met with the committee on September 27th and October 11th. So on the map page here, what you will see are the 8 study areas that we have looked at on redistricting. There are 225 students inside of the 8 study areas. 175 of them actually attend Neptune Middle School, which tells us that 50 of the students are already using our choice options to attend other schools and programs within the district. So the next thing we want to look at is on page 4 of your handout. These are basically just the study areas. They provide you with more details. We actually show you the number of students inside of each study area. And then we also provide you with the schools that the other 50 children are attending in addition to Neptune and Denjon. The key piece we'll want to look at is on page 5. So what we are showing you is that for this year, the projection for Denjon Middle School was going to be 1,357. And this puts them at 69%. And we want to keep in mind that does include their portables. But again, as you can see, it is one of the reasons that we selected Denjon to relieve the students from Neptune Middle School. And Neptune Middle School had a projection of, I've lost my place, 1,530, which was going to put them at approximately 102% with their students coming online. If you put the plan into place that we're recommending this evening, which is to take these 8 study areas from Neptune to Denjon, then for the 18-19 school year, we believe that Denjon's new student population would be 1,185, highlighted in the blue, and the projection for Neptune Middle School would be 1,361. And then we show you our projections out through 2023-24. The projections were based on any residential development that we had on file as of our snapshot last fall. We're out right now taking a new snapshot of all of our development, and then of course now with the relief of Hurricane Maria, we expect these numbers to be even a little higher than what we have projected here on the chart.
So these kids are actually closer to Denjon physically anyway.
Yes. And one of the things, so you can understand how we came up with this area, right now these are the only 8 study areas that do not currently go to Denjon that do go to Mill Creek. So we've kind of created a fluid feeder pattern.
They're already zoned to Mill Creek.
Yes, so now they'll actually go to Mill Creek K-5, and then they would go on to Denjon. They won't be broken up between 2 different schools.
How were your, what do you call your meetings that you had with residents?
Yes, sir.
People come to that?
The first meeting, we had one parent come in just long enough to say, my son's going to be an 8th grader. What does that mean for me? We explained to them, we allow historically for the 8th graders to stay behind. We didn't have any other parents attend those meetings. We've only had a couple of phone calls. Both of those were also surrounded around, I have a rising 8th grader, how will that be impacted? I do know briefly at the workshop, we had mentioned there might be a new law coming into effect that was going to change the measurement, which might make this 310C community turn into a walking community instead of a busing community. I did talk to Sean Tucker today. He said that is Senate Bill 188. It has a tendency to come up every so many years. It never gains any momentum, so he does not expect it to gain any momentum this year either. So
Expands the miles for expands the radius for transportation.
The gate.
Yeah, that was the one
Oh,
that.
the gate deal, yes.
And now suddenly they would be
Absolutely.
walkers instead of riders. So based on what Mr. Tucker spoke to me today about, we expect these students would also continue to be bused to Denjon.
When they're
So-
on the opposite side of 192.
I'd like them not
Yeah.
having to cross 192
Right.
for just
So-
practical reasons.
That was the caveat that the redistricting committee had asked to be considered, but at this point, since they'll remain bus riders, I don't see us having to leave that topic on the table as part of the recommendation. Just basically, 5 years out, we do believe after the comprehensive renovation is in place and with all portables removed, after you make this redistricting, if you go forward with this, Denjon would be at about 95%. And Neptune Middle School would still be at 90% in another 5 years. Of course, that's with Tehopla coming online, the additional phases of Kindred, et cetera. So, as I'm saying, we are removing the statement about carrying over the transportation because it's going to carry over naturally. I know I've spoken kind of quickly. The next 2 pages just show you what the attendance zone boundaries would look like after the plan goes into effect. So page 6 is Denjon Middle, and page 7 is Neptune Middle. At this time, I will turn it back over to Chairman Soto to open for public comment.
Okay, so just as a matter of process and procedure, if anyone in the public wants to address the board with any comments on this redistricting plan, they may do so. All we ask is that they fill out a little yellow form with their name and address and the contact information. I haven't seen any yellow sheet. Is there anybody from the public that wants to make any comment at this time? Right, that's not unusual. So, seeing that there is none, we're going to close the public comment. School board members, you have an opportunity now to chime in.
I'll just briefly say, I have not gotten one call from anybody about this one or the other, so I'm curious.
First of all, excellent work. I love the maps, I love the explanation. In terms of transparency, the public couldn't ask for more, so, speaking on their behalf, I'm very, very pleased with the process. Superintendent, your team done excellent. Well, this is a high-growth district, so this is something that's continually going to be happening. And I think that the way that we communicate with the public makes it all makes things easier. And it certainly makes our job easier as well. Mr. Thacker, anything to add?
No, I like the elementary feeder consistency. Other than that,
Yeah, that was a very good observation. Mr. Booth?
I'm good.
Mr. Weissier?
I'm good. Is it a roll call vote or just?
Mr. Wheeler, all right. All right, so I'll close board comments at this time, and we're going to call the question on the approval of the redistricting plan as presented to us. Board, what say you? All those in favor, please state aye.
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 Do we need a motion?
I'll make a
Is it a roll
motion.
call?
Is it roll call or not?
I believe it is.
Is roll call? All right, then.
That's fine, just do it that way.
doesn't hurt if we do it that way.
No, it doesn't hurt.
Mr. Wheeler?
Aye.
Mr. Soto?
Aye.
Mr. Weissier?
Aye.
Mr. Thacker?
Aye.
Mr. Booth?
Aye.
Vote passes in favor, 5-0.
Chairman Soto, do we have the motion and the second, or is that not necessary with the roll call vote? I know that you said to approve the plan.
That's the,
Your question.
We'll do it both ways.
It was, he called for a roll call vote. There was no motion.
We don't-
I made the motion, actually, without a
I missed
second,
that.
and we called a roll call vote.
In the interest of compliance with Robert's Rules of Order,
Make a motion in a second, because these are
I'll
one of
make a
the areas
motion
you get
to approve as
challenged on.
submitted.
Very
Second.
well. Motion to approve is submitted by Mr. Weider, second by Mr. Weishager. Hearing no further comments, board, we take a vote. All those in favor, please state aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, vote passes
I want to
5-0.
make a motion to vote on this a third time.
Just quickly, I want to recognize that we do have some of our committee members present here tonight.
Please do
and
so.
We do appreciate that they
Thank
give up
you.
their personal
thank
time
you
to
for
serve
coming.
on the committees and to come here this evening.
Yes,
Appreciate it.
it was a great effort by all, and we really appreciate it.
Thank you for your time, we appreciate you.
Thank you.
That's it.
Thank you very much, Chairman Soto, members of the board. Remember that next Tuesday, we have a very full agenda for the day.
Let's stop the
Anything.
pace.
For the day.
Always, Deborah, can I ask them a question? Not you. If we need to go to Tallahassee, and I need a board member to be with us, can you designate a representative that would work with us? And what have I done to you to deserve this?
They know me there.
And the answer is, I would concur, not Jim.
I'm glad to go.
Thank you.
I'm not the right party.
I'm not charming enough, Frank?
Are we off the record?